Right, the 2026 FIFA World Cup continues, and today we're going to be previewing Group B, where we have one of the co-hosts, Canada, talk about Bosnia Herzegovina, and of course, Qatar, the host of the last edition of the World Cup in 2022, and of course, Switzerland. Let's begin with the game between Canada and Bosnia Herzegovina. That's going to be coming on. Canada, unfortunately, are missing out on their top marksman, their captain Alfonso Davies, who's not likely to feature due to a slight injury. But I'm thinking that maybe in the second game he's going to be around. It proves to be a tough one for the Canadian side. Canada are making their third appearance in the history of the World Cup. This is going to be their third appearance. They were there in 1986, the last time out in Qatar 2022. And by virtue of the fact that they are one of the co-hosts, they making an appearance at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Being coached by one of the former coaches who has trooped to Europe, Jesse March, at a point was with RB Leipzig, later on came to Leeds United. He has been an experienced man when it comes to being on the touchline. He's going to be leading the co-hosts. Canada have entirely not won any of their games in the history of the FIFA World Cup. And in fact, they lost all. In 1986, they lost all their three group games. And of course, in the last time out in Qatar 2022, they lost all their group games. And of course, they've scored only two goals in their entire history at the World Cup. And of course, if you remember what happened, they lost 4-1 against Croatia in the last World Cup, 1-0 against Belgium, and of course 2-1 against Morocco in the last World Cup. Today, they enter into a game against Bosnia-Herzegovina, a team that also does not have any rich history when it comes to the FIFA World Cup. Bosnia also making their second appearance in the history of the World Cup. Their first appearance was in 2014 in Brazil, and I remember when they were in a group with the likes of Iran, Nigeria, and of course Argentina. Canada will be having Jonathan Davis, who will be the top marksman to lead the side. Of course, Tani Oluwaseyi, also of Villarreal, alongside his compatriot who plays straight with him in the same club, Villarreal. Trevor Buchanan is going to be a Richie Lai is also going to be one of the guys that the Canadian side can put their eyes on him. And of course, Moise Bombito of Stade Rennais. How is Canada going to line up in that game when they come up face to face against the Bosnia-Herzegovina side? Bosnia are having one of the experienced players when it comes to this competition in terms of world football. And of course, Edin Dzeko, the captain of the side, is likely to lead the Bosnia-Herzegovina side. Former Arsenal left back Said Kolasinac is going to be around. Of course, Demirovic, Tahirovic, and of course, Bajzarak Tarekvic is also going to be around. How is the Bosnia-Herzegovina team going to line up? Bosnia-Herzegovina, their last World Cup, they only won against Iran, which was 3-1 in the last group encounter. They lost 2-1. They lost 1-0 against Argentina, and of course, they lost 1-0 against Nigeria in the 2014 World Cup. They're going to be facing Canada. And if you take a look at those two sides, both sides are yet to lose a game in their last 8 games. But to me, I see that maybe I might go a slight edge for Canada based on the fact that they're going to be having the home crowd behind them, also chanting and then supporting them. I see Canada maybe having the slight edge. I might go a 1-0 win for Canada in favor of them against Bosnia-Herzegovina, and that is the first group game in Group B. The other game will be between Qatar and Switzerland. Qatar are also making their second appearance at the World Cup, which is the 2026 FIFA World Cup, after hosting the first time out in last World Cup, which was when they hosted on home soil. Unfortunately for them, they've also never won any game in their history at the World Cup, even though they played only 3 games, losing 2-0 against Ecuador, losing against the Dutch team, the Netherlands, and of course, losing against Senegal the last time out. Let's see how Qatar are going to line up in this. I mean, which of the big players can you talk of within the Qatari side? Akram Afif is going to be around, Abdul Razik, and of course, Pedro Miguel at the back line, Taha. Whether Mohamed Montari, the Ghanaian born, will be given the opportunity to play is also another different ball game altogether from Julian Lopetegui and his charges for the Qatari side. I fancy Switzerland winning the game based on the fact that they have a lot of experienced players when it comes to competition like this. I mean, the likes of Kobel, Widmer, Manuela Kanji, the likes of Remo Freola, in attack, the likes of Jonah Manzambi, Dan Ndoye, Bril Embolo, and of course, Captain Granit Xhaka is also going to be the main man in midfield, leading the thick of affairs for the Switzerland side. I see maybe Qatar might try as much as possible to do what they can do to hurt the Swiss team, but I fancy Switzerland winning by 3 goals to 0. This has been preview of Group B in the 2026 FIFA World Cup, which is ongoing in USA, Canada, and Mexico. This has been podcast channel with our thank you.